Hey everyone, I know that our 2021 rally and tally is going to look a little different this year, and I'd love to be in person at the Capitol with you all, but it's going to be an amazing year. I'm so thankful and blessed that we get to work with all of you wonderful volunteers, even if it's just virtually. We're going to have such a huge impact this year, and it really is all because of you guys and all of your hard work. So thank you so much, and I'm so excited for our legislative meetings next week.
Greetings and salutations from Tallahassee. I'm so sorry that you all can't join us here in person this year for the Alzheimer's Association's annual rally in Tally. But we look forward to seeing you all over the course of the next week virtually. While it's not the same as seeing you in person, the work that we all do as part of Rally truly helps our advocacy efforts. And as we saw last year, we couldn't have done it without you. Advocacy is a team effort, and because of you all, we have the greatest team in the nation. So while we won't be together in person, we will be together in spirit, and of course virtually. I know the 2021 Rally and Tally will be a little different this year, but I have no doubt at all, that it will be another record breaker. So thanks for all that you do, and we'll see you real soon.
Hello there, this is Jennifer Braystead coming to you from South Florida. I'm so sorry that we can't all be together in person in Tallahassee this year, but I am so excited for our upcoming Rally and Tally, and so happy that we can actually all be together, even if it's virtually, to watch the Capitol go purple. I know it's been a very interesting year, and things are all looking very different all around us, but I know that we are going to have an amazing rally. We are going to make a tremendous impact, as we always do, and even though I am not able to see your beautiful faces in person, I cannot wait to see them via Zoom technology. Nothing can stop us. We are truly unstoppable. So I can't wait to see your faces, and I can't wait to even more hear your voices, because as you know, your voice matters and it truly makes an impact. So sending you all lots of love and joy and hope, and let's go out there and do what we can to end alls.
Good evening. Welcome. Gosh, here we are live from the Purple Capitol. So right behind me is the historic Capitol, and it is lit again purple for you. So over 10 years, every year, we light this Capitol purple. But there's only one thing that's truly missing. We have our purple flags out there for the 580,000 Floridians currently living with Alzheimer's. We've lit this Capitol purple, and we have these beautiful letters right behind me, but you're missing. I'm really missing you. We're missing you. So visualize yourselves, please, being here with us tonight, because I'm certainly visualizing, looking out tonight, thinking of each and every one of you. So glad you could be with us tonight. So we weren't going to let a pandemic stop this purple lighting ceremony and press conference. So here we are. So we've got a lot to tell you about tonight, and I want you to make sure you put any questions you have in the Q&A. At the end of the program, we're going to have a long list of Q&A for you, and make sure we get to all of your questions. If we don't get them to them tonight, don't worry. You can get with any of your advocacy managers or email any one of us, and we'll be glad to get your questions answered. So here's what I want you to do. You have been out there making meetings, and I know we've already had 20 meetings today, and we'll have almost 80 meetings by the time we end this week with our legislative officials. So 80 meetings that you're doing on Zoom. Take those pictures, tag your elected officials, tell them how excited you are to meet with them, because they are excited to meet with you folks. So tonight we'll hear from some of our new state champions that are going to tell us a little bit about why this legislation is important to them. We'll hear from some great old ones that have been with us on the journey for many years. We'll hear testimonials from ambassadors. We'll hear from our partner and friend, Secretary Richard Prudhomme, and finally from First Lady DeSantis. At the end of the program, you're going to hear a special note from Representative Plakin. So thank you again so much for being with us. Again, put your questions and any comments or thoughts and suggestions into the Q&A, and we'll be glad to get to them. Also, make sure you're using your hashtag. So it's hashtag EndAlls, If you don't know, it's right there behind me. Big, huge marquee letters right there. And My Voice Matters. So we sent each of you, if you signed up, we sent each of you a paddle that says My Voice Matters, because truly, folks, your voice do matter. And your elected officials have been listening. That's why we're here tonight. And that's why they're going to be with you live on this telecast. So please make sure you know that your voices count and they are being heard. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce a friend to the organization, a partner that's been with us every step of the way, a true visionary and leader who has really helped us through the pandemic. We began early on with Project Vital in the pandemic in the very early days, and we're now on phase 3 of Project Vital, thanks to his leadership and his commitment to seniors here in Florida. So it's my pleasure to welcome you to Secretary Richard Prudhomme.
Thank you, Michelle. Notice I have to lean down a little bit after she's been up here, but I'll manage. But, you know, I think we all recognize that Florida is at the forefront of the Alzheimer's crisis. And according to the latest stats, we have over 580,000 who are living with Alzheimer's alone. As we know, that doesn't include the other couple of 100,000 who are living with other forms of dementia. And just as important as their care partners, of well over 1.3 million. And, you know, I think, you know, what's important to recognize is that since Governor DeSantis came into office, he is ensuring that Alzheimer's is a priority within our state. As you know, he came out with an aggressive dementia action plan, and we are now achieving much synergy through that action plan with the Alzheimer's Disease Advisory Committee, the State Health Improvement Plan. Now dementia is a standalone priority in that plan. It was not so before, and also the Advocacy Department as well. And we're already seeing some incredible results, and we're going to build on those results as we go through this session and on further on. I think we recognize that since the pandemic began, it has been a constant precarious balancing act between the need for life to go on, but also to protect us from the adverse effects of the virus. What we didn't know a year ago was the vital significance of mental health and well-being. And I think, you know, with self-isolation and social distancing due to COVID has had a significant effect on, especially on people living with dementia and their care partners. That sudden closure of support and respite services, the separation from family and friends, and the deterioration coming from all of this has led to families storing up huge amounts of emotional distress. And this will be felt long into the future. We do know that. As you will hear from the First Lady, Florida was one of the only states to immediately recognize and identify solutions to address the issue of social isolation. But I think we recognize, you know, with Project Vital, you heard Michelle mention that a little bit, but virtual inclusive technology for all. It's a groundbreaking initiative. And we are so proud to have partnered with the Alzheimer's Association on this initiative. It truly has become a gold standard across the country for mitigating social isolation. And we are pleased to see the evolution from providing tablets and the program in long-term care facilities to looking at providing it within homes, so that people living with dementia at home and their care partners can benefit from this much needed and very exciting technology to help them live better lives. Already, the 2021 legislative session is off to a great start. As Michelle mentioned, there's many pieces of legislation out there, great legislation out there prioritizing people who are living with Alzheimer's and with other related dementias. And as Michelle also mentioned, it's an honor to see all the new legislative champions stepping up and really sort of taking things to the next level. We may be sort of few in numbers this year, but as we're speaking through you to far and wide, we are really sort of more than just the numbers here. And you know, Michelle and I were talking beforehand. We really feel the loss of people not being here, but just knowing that you're out there supporting us from Pensacola all the way down to Miami is a comforting thought, and it just makes us want to sort of do more, and we will do more. I think, as I've mentioned before to others, advocacy is even more important today than it ever has been. You know, we've seen that the pandemic has disrupted every aspect of our lives, and as communities rebuild and restructure and recover from this, it gives us an opportunity to actually influence how communities step up and make their communities better for people living with dementia and their care partners. And this is why I think today is a great day to really sort of announce how we are taking things to that next level. And we want to make sure that we continue to create communities where people continue to live and live well, even though they are living with dementia. You can still live well with dementia, and we all believe that, in our hearts as well. So it's great to be here. Go out and advocate, enjoy, meet with all these people, let them know how important the legislation is, and we look forward to continuing the fight, and we will never stop.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for being here tonight. So even though you can't see them, so we're going to pan out so you can say that there are some very special people with us. So you just heard from Secretary Prudhomme. We also have Anna from the governor's office. We have Representative Plakin. We have his wife Rachel and her mom with us tonight. We have Parisia from Senator Gibson's office. We have Representative Michelle Salzman back there, Eddie Thompson from Representative Plakin's office. We have so many. We also have Representative Malika here as well. So thank you so much for coming back. And Representative Will Height, I saw back there, a new ADAC member. And then we have one of our newest ADAC members is Dr. Jonathan Weiss with us here this evening too. Thank you, sir. Thank you all so much for being here. So the Secretary told you that we're going to hear from the First Lady, but before we do, I wanted to tell you those purple flags, we have 580 of them that we planted yesterday afternoon that are on the Capitol grounds right now, representing the 580,000 Floridians currently living with Alzheimer's. That places us at second highest prevalence in the country. And even though we just had the facts and figures come out, Florida is still at second highest prevalence. But the great news is that we have so many great leaders, not only the leaders that I just mentioned, but Governor Ron DeSantis and the First Lady as well, taking the charge and setting the gold standard for impacting social isolation. So what they've done during the pandemic for Alzheimer's disease and related dementia, what they continue to do to raise awareness and priority has been so significant for the state of Florida. So many thanks to the governor and his team for being here tonight as well. So with that, I am going to cue up the video for the First Lady. Thank you, Rob.
Hi, I'm First Lady Casey DeSantis. In 2019, I launched Hope for Healing, which is focused on going beyond government by working with private sector, faith-based, and local partners to help reach those in communities who need help and support the most. Florida is home to more than 4.5 million seniors across the state, and through the Hope for Healing project, we want to create greater accessibility to help these Floridians navigate the many resources available to them and to more easily access support. While hope is on the horizon with the governor's Senior First vaccine strategy, we recognize that COVID has continued to exacerbate existing mental health issues and has created new ones that we all face in our daily lives. As First Lady, mental health and resiliency remain a top priority for me and for the administration. Since the early days of the pandemic, the governor and the Secretary of Elder Affairs, Richard Prudhomme, partnered with the Alzheimer's Association and IN2L Technologies to introduce Project Vital. Project Vital is an important, groundbreaking, and innovative technology that is customized and family-centric. It was released in May of 2020 in Florida in long-term care facilities to combat the effects of isolation among our seniors living in these communities who had experienced long social restrictions due to COVID-19. It has since expanded to include families living and caring at home. Last month, the Alzheimer's Association distributed 200 more Project Vital tablets that were specifically created to meet the needs of caregivers and their loved ones feeling isolated and restricted in their own homes. Florida families can engage with their loved ones from all parts of the country, plug into their favorite hobbies virtually, obtain essential caregiving resources from the Alzheimer's Association and other organizations, and receive critical care through telehealth and telemental health if it's needed. In addition, the Florida's proactive Seniors First approach to vaccine distribution, our state remains at the forefront of mitigating the effects of isolation, including anxiety and depression, through this unique statewide project. To that end, the governor and I look forward to seeing how Project Vital continues to grow and assist other states as the rest of the nation work to adopt this program. On behalf of the governor and myself, thank you for participating in this critical initiative that has positively impacted thousands of seniors throughout our state. Thank you, and God bless.
Yes. Yes, sir. Yes. Hi, welcome back. So listen, I'm seeing all of you commenting and chatting. There are hundreds of you joining us live from all over the state. Thank you so much for being here with us. I'm watching you and I'm just getting energized and enthusiastic thinking about you watching tonight. So thank you so much for being here. Next, I wanted to talk about the facts and figures. So each year, in the early days of March, the Alzheimer's Association puts out the facts and figures each year. What are the facts and figures? They're the prevalence and mortality rates, the disparity rates, all of the significant data that comes in our nation with Alzheimer's disease and related dementias, and especially the state of Florida. So I told you Florida has the second highest prevalence for Alzheimer's disease in the country. That comes from our facts and figures. We're also the sixth leading cause of death in the nation and in the state of Florida. So these numbers come out each year. So I wanted to roll the tape on the new facts and figures. They're hot off the presses. They just came to us last week. So you can get a little look at our special report and what's to come. Thank you. Rob, will you roll the tape? And we're back. Is it looking more purple behind me because the sun is going down? So it's starting to look more purple. I can see it. I can see those letters really lit up. So I hope you enjoyed the facts and figures video that just came out. Next, we're going to talk about our first priority. Our first priority is about long-term care communities, and Secretary Prudhomme and I were on the safe and limited reopening of long-term care communities in our state. Currently, we have approximately 4,000 long-term care communities. Approximately 2,800 of them are assisted living facilities. So the Alzheimer's Association, along with great support from the Department of Elder Affairs and some tremendous champions. So we have a bipartisan Senate sponsor. We have Senator Baxley and Senator Gibson. And tonight we're joined by Farija for Senator Gibson. Thank you so much, Farija, for being here. And in the House, we have Representative Cord Bird. So new legislative champions, and then of course Senator Gibson has been with you all along, so she's one of our older champions. So thrilled about this piece of legislation, which is going to uniform all the training requirements for assisted living facilities, skilled nursing, home health agencies, hospice, adult day, and specialized adult day. So that sounds like a lot, but those are the facility types that make up what we call the long-term care community. And if COVID did nothing, it did cast a stark spotlight on our long-term care communities and what we need to do to provide quality and safe care. So we're doing that, but it's a tall order, and the long-term care community has been through a lot. So we're looking at doing more training for Alzheimer's disease and related dementias in these long-term care communities. So that's our first priority. That's House Bill 309 and Senate Bill 634, and you're going to see it on the ticker right below me. So you don't have to memorize it, it's right there. So what you're going to hear now is a testimonial from one of our board members who's also been an advocate. He's been in DC with me. He's been here in Tallahassee with me. He's a board member for the Florida Gulf Coast, and he has a personal journey with Alzheimer's disease. He's going to tell you why he believes that this legislation is so important. And then you'll hear from Representative Cord Bird, who's carrying the legislation on the House side, and why he believes it's so important to prioritize Alzheimer's this year in our long-term care communities. Rob, will you roll the tapes?
Hello, my name is Jeff Foster, and I'm an advocate for the Alzheimer's Association. I live in St. Petersburg, Florida, and I'm on the board of the Florida Gulf Coast chapter of the Alzheimer's Association. My mother died from Alzheimer's disease in May 2020, and about 20 years prior to that, her father, my grandfather, also passed away from Alzheimer's. My father was my mother's primary caregiver until the job just became too large. We placed my mother in a memory care unit in assisted living. Within 1 week, she had fallen and broke her arm. Because of this, she was sent to the hospital and then to a skilled nursing care facility. When she was released from the skilled nursing facility, she was on oxygen, and her assisted living facility would not readmit her. A social worker found her another assisted living facility. While the staff there were very nice people, it was obvious that their training for Alzheimer's was more on the job. My mom had a couple more falls as the staff would not use bed alarms. Her last fall was December 31st, 2019, and she was again sent to the hospital. The diagnosis was complicated, but she had a heart issue that would kill her in 6 months, and she had difficulty swallowing her food, which is a common Alzheimer's symptom. I feel the swallowing issue should have been picked up at assisted living. I know me and my father had requested swallowing tests several times while she was there. After some more therapy at skilled nursing, which included swallowing therapy, she was released into the care of hospice at her assisted living facility. For the rest of 2020, until the lockdown for COVID, my father and I visited her 5 to 6 times a week, always at mealtime, to help her eat her parade food. We even mixed her thickened beverages, as only one person on the staff was qualified to do so. Once our visitation was halted and we were no longer feeding my mom, she went downhill fast. That is why I'm so passionate about additional Alzheimer training for all assisted living facility staff. House Bill 309, Companion Senate Bill 634, implements consistent evidence-based training in Florida's 4,000 long-term care facilities, even including those staff members that don't have direct care responsibilities. Over 60% of people living in long-term care facilities have some form of dementia. I'm proud of the strides we made in Florida over the years to move the needle forward in advancing Alzheimer's and dementia as a priority. I know House Bill 309, Senate Bill 634 is a critical step for us this year to provide quality care in our facilities, and I know our elected leaders will support it.
Hello, Florida Alzheimer's advocates. I'm Cord Bird, State Representative for House District 11, representing parts of Duval and Nassau counties. Alzheimer's disease impacts over 580,000 Floridians and has devastated so many families across our state and our nation. Alzheimer's and related dementias affect approximately 60% of individuals in Florida's long-term care communities. For this large majority and their families, we recognize that staff plays an even greater role as the resident population remains more isolated and vulnerable. I am honored to have the opportunity to work with the Alzheimer's Association this year and sponsor legislation in House Bill 309, which enhances the training for staff in our 4,000 long-term care communities. The Alzheimer's Association has noted that the single most important determinant of quality dementia care across all care settings is direct care staff. These providers help to shape the daily lives of people with dementia and assist with all aspects of physical care for those with dementia. A cornerstone of providing quality dementia care is dementia-specific training for professional care staff. Alzheimer's disease is the only top 10 leading cause of death in America without prevention, treatment, or a cure. But I have no doubt at all that together we will find a cure and ultimately put an end to Alzheimer's disease in our lifetime. I am pleased that together we are continuing to fight for the hundreds of thousands of individuals, families, and caregivers impacted by this disease. One day we will have a cure, but until then, I am thankful that we can be part of an effort to provide quality of life care for so many Floridians living with Alzheimer's and their families.
And we're back. Welcome. Hopefully it's getting more and more purple as we're talking and everything's going really well. So you got to hear from Representative Cord Bird, and this is a time to put questions into the Q&A, put it into the chat box. You heard from Jeff Foster, who gave an advocate testimonial about that legislation, and then Representative Cord Bird. So keep them coming, and we will answer them all, I promise. So next, let's go on to Priority 2. Priority 2 is an Alzheimer's awareness campaign for healthcare providers. Now that's House Bill 627, and that is sponsored by Representative Michelle Salzman in the House, who's here with us tonight. So thank you so much, Representative, for being with us. And Senate Bill 874, and that's Senator Jason Broder. So what does this Alzheimer's awareness do? Alzheimer's awareness is important because we talk about long-term care and what the end of our journey with Alzheimer's look like in long-term care. This is the beginning of our journey. So now we're talking about the beginning when we want to look at brain health, early detection, and early diagnosis. We also want to make sure that people that we rely on the most when we're afraid, when we're anxious, when we're scared about our own health, where do we turn to first? We always go to our healthcare providers. And when we do, we want to make sure that they're equipped to handle the questions that we might have about ourselves or our loved ones when we're scared. So this awareness bill is looking at the Department of Health and making sure when we update collateral that we include brain health, early detection, and early diagnosis and all the new collateral that we offer. It'll also look at the CPT code, which is 99483, which covers care consultation, care planning, and assessments through the Improving Hope for Alzheimer's Act. It also will look at a cognitive baseline assessment when we do an annual wellness visit. So all of these things combined help to really equip our healthcare providers in that early phase of the journey to give us the time we need to do what we need to do as families when we're dealing with Alzheimer's. Right now, it's the 6th leading cause of death, I told you, for our nation and for our state, and it's the only top 10 leading cause of death without prevention, treatment, or cure yet. So raising awareness will be very critical. So you're going to hear from one of my favorite ambassadors. She's wonderful, out of the Orlando area. She's the ambassador for Congresswoman Val Demings. She's been with us to DC. She's been with us in Raleigh, and her name is Usha Tiwari. So she's going to tell you a little bit about her journey, her personal journey with Alzheimer's, and why this legislation is so critical. Next, you'll hear a video from Representative Michelle Salzman. There's some cars going by, people. It's getting loud over here. So next you'll hear from Representative Michelle Salzman, who's going to talk to you about why she is carrying this legislation and prioritizing Alzheimer's disease. So with that, I'm going to cue up the videos. Thanks, Rob.
Hi, my name is Usha Tiwari, and I'm an Alzheimer's ambassador and live in Orlando, Florida. I am a caregiver to my mom, who was diagnosed with Alzheimer's dementia. In Florida, as you know, there are over 580,000 Floridians who are living with Alzheimer's dementia, and my mom is one of them. My mom was diagnosed several years ago. Her diagnosis was not a simple one. There were a lot of misconceptions about this disease, and it delayed the diagnosis. It has been challenging working full-time and caregiving for her, not knowing her cognitive state and mobility challenges. Alzheimer's disease and dementia, there are a lot of misconceptions, and that is why I advocate for others to understand the challenges that caregivers like me have. I hope that House Bill 627 will be implemented, and this is a campaign directly to Florida's healthcare providers so they can learn more about the brain health and diagnosis and help individuals like myself. I am proud of the strides that we've made so far in Florida with the Alzheimer's Association, but we still have a lot more to do to move the needle forward in our state. We need to make this a priority. I know that this House bill is a critical step for us in 2021. And I know that our elected officials, not only in Orange County, but throughout the state, will support us advocates with our endeavors this year. Thank you for your support.
Hi, I'm Michelle Salzman, a mother, wife, and a state representative from House District 1, which represents Escambia County in the Panhandle of Florida. Alzheimer's disease is the 6th leading cause of death in our country, and the only top 10 leading cause of death in America without prevention, treatment, or a cure. This disease disproportionately affects women in that nearly 2/3 of the more than 5 million Americans living with Alzheimer's are women, and women make up over 70% of those providing unpaid care. Having lost family to the disease myself, I know the impact it can place on not only the individuals, but families, friends, and caregivers as well. This devastating disease places an unbalanced burden on women at home, at work, and sometimes forcing them to make difficult choices about their careers, their relationships, and their futures. Thanks to the commitment from the Governor, Ron DeSantis, the legislature, and the Alzheimer's Association, I'm proud of the strides that we have made here in Florida to move the needle forward in advancing Alzheimer's and dementia as a health care priority. I am honored to have the opportunity to sponsor legislation alongside Senator Jason Broder, which will further provide resources and awareness of the disease to our medical professionals. House Bill 627 is legislation I am sponsoring that emphasizes the need to put Alzheimer's information in the hands of our healthcare providers across the state to ensure they have up-to-date resources and information relating to brain health, early detection, and diagnosis for Alzheimer's disease and other dementias. I'm also excited to be a part of the Alzheimer's Association's annual Rally and Tally and want to welcome everyone to Tallahassee, even if only virtually. This year, we plan to continue the fight on behalf of the hundreds of thousands of individuals, families, and caregivers impacted by Alzheimer's disease. I look forward to being on this journey with all of you.
So the chat looks so busy. You heard me just cheering. Yay! You guys are really interacting. Thank you so much. Thank you for taking the time out to be with us tonight. So we're live again from the Capitol. Again, the sun is setting and I see all the purple lights. I'm looking at all of the chat, thinking of you guys. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. We're really missing you, but knowing you're there from all across this great state with us this evening on this important evening. So our third priority is the brain bus. And for those of you that have been with us for a while, you know this brain bus. You've seen this brain bus. In fact, it's pretty hard to miss this brain bus. It's huge. And it has the Alzheimer's Association, the Department of Elder Affairs on it. It's huge. It's purple. And it's really such a great mobile outreach initiative that during the pandemic became virtual. And now we've learned in the virtual space that we can hit even more communities, even more counties in the virtual space. So when we get this brain bus back on the road, it's going to still have a virtual component because we're still able to reach a lot of people this way. So you know the brain bus does early detection and early diagnosis and care planning and care consultation. It will refer for diagnostic screening and other things like that, but it's going to educate all of those that need it about early detection, look at warning signs, educate us, provide community resources when we need it, and help with care consultations and care plans for families that really need it. The brain bus also prioritizes diverse and underserved populations. So it has made over 300 stops annually. Our programs team is working day and night to make sure we hit all 300 places. Last year, Representative Plakin carried this great piece of legislation with Senator Gibson, and it's back again this year with Representative Caruso and Senator Gibson again this year. So that is House Bill 2137. You're going to see it on the ticker below me, and Senate Funding Initiative 1038. So the brain bus is always important, and we're asking for $300,000 in appropriations this year. You're going to hear in a minute from Marta. She's going to tell you why. She's an advocate of ours, and I just loved seeing her video. So Marta, thank you so much for sending it. She's going to tell you why she thinks the brain bus is so important. And then you're going to hear from our own Senator Gibson, who's going to talk to you about the priority. She's carrying the long-term care priority, as you heard before, and the brain bus. So two big lifts this year from Senator Gibson. Thank you so much. So with that, Rob, I'll ask you to roll the tape.
Hola. Hello. My name is Marta Hunquivern. I live in Miami, Florida, and I'm a volunteer advocate for the Alzheimer Association. My mother passed away in October 2018 after living with Alzheimer for 12 years. Alzheimer's disproportionately affects Hispanics and African Americans, and that is why it is so critical to expand access to resources and education on Alzheimer's disease to underserved and diverse populations. The Alzheimer Association is asking the legislature to continue its investment in the Brain Bus. The Brain Bus brings to diverse populations, to diverse communities, education and awareness on Alzheimer's disease. It provides information on brain health, caregiving, care planning, and community resources. I am a Brain Bus volunteer, and it has been such an honor to be part of this initiative. And I am so proud that the Brain Bus consistently made over 300 physical stops in a year. This past year, in 2020, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the Alzheimer Association was able to expand the Brain Bus program, and now it includes a virtual program component, which held over 120 virtual memory education presentations, and it served over 1,800 people. The Brain Bus is a critical component to Florida's efforts to promote brain health and early detection and diagnosis of the Alzheimer and other related dementias. The Brain Bus is an action that we can take to alleviate the impact of this devastating disease. Thank you so much for your support.
Hi, I'm State Senator Audrey Gibson, and welcome to the Alzheimer's Disease Association webinar. I'm excited to be a participant in this webinar, and please have been asked to join you all. With over 580,000 Floridians living with Alzheimer's disease, Florida has the second largest prevalence of the disease in the nation. Additionally, caregivers in our state provide over $1.2 million in unpaid care. We can do better. As a former caregiver myself, my mother suffered with dementia and ultimately Alzheimer's disease. I'm also an advocate for legislation that prioritizes our Alzheimer's community. I am deeply committed to helping move Florida forward in not only helping to find a cure, but to deliver the best care possible to those suffering with Alzheimer's disease and to focus on respite care for those who take care of their loved ones. We've made some great strides in Florida, raising awareness about Alzheimer's disease and advancing policy related to keeping Alzheimer's disease a priority in this state. And I'm honored to have been a part of that. I've worked on several bills, including our Brain Bus bill that takes a mobile unit into underserved communities to make sure that they are aware of the prevalence of Alzheimer's disease, particularly in communities of color. And so we have to make sure that we can actually communicate with the public, talk them through some of the things that happen on a day-to-day basis with their loved one. We also created a dementia director in our state. And so that will be important of putting all the pieces together of how we take care of our individuals with Alzheimer's disease. The last thing I will say is this. This year, I filed a bill that will help to create standards for all who come in contact and work with our Alzheimer's disease sufferers so that we have the latest information on how we take care of those dealing with this debilitating disease. And I look forward to that bill advancing and getting across the victory line at the end of session 2021. Thank you.
And we are back. Oh my gosh. See, I'm looking behind me and seeing the letters get brighter and everything getting more purple. Keep those questions coming. I see the chat box lighting up and it's making me so happy. So I wanted to tell you too, we have 3 ADAC members, which is the Alzheimer's Disease Advisory Committee, also with you. You have Representative Plagan, Representative Wilhite was here, Let's see, and Dr. Jonathan Weiss, who is the newest member of the ADAC, and yours truly. So a lot of us here representing the Alzheimer's Disease Advisory Committee. So last two priorities, and you guys know them, you've seen them before because we will always support them. One is research. The Ed and Ethel Moore grant program is something that the Alzheimer's Association will always get behind. We know that research is the most direct path to prevention, treatment, and cure of this disease, and will continue to support research. We're also going to continue to support respite care funding, and we do that through Community Care for the Elderly and the Alzheimer's Disease Initiative. So two things you'll always see us supporting is respite care services and research. Next, I have a very special guest who's coming to you live this evening, and I'm so thrilled that he's here. Representative Plakin has been such an amazing friend to the association, such a legislative champion. He lost his wife a few years ago from the disease, but he took that tragedy and turned it into a priority and a mission. He's been on this mission and this journey with us for years and continues to be a mentor and a leader in this space. It is my pleasure and my privilege to welcome Representative Scott Plakin. Thank you.
There is clapping here for the record. I also want to thank Representatives Maggard and newly elected Representative David Barrero for being here tonight, likely future champions. When I was elected back to the House in 2014, our family had just received the terrible news that Susie, my wife of almost 30 years and mother of 6, was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease at age 53. At that time, I thought this was a disease that just made older people forget things. Since then, I've learned it's a whole lot more than that. It started, of course, like most families, with family noticing memory loss. Then came agitation and sundowning. Susie, who was always described as sweet and easygoing, became severely agitated. In just a few years, I was taking care of all of her physical needs. She started having grand mal seizures and then myoclonic seizures. From one of the seizures, she fell and had internal brain damage and had to have staples in the back of her head to heal the wound. She also wandered off several times, one time being brought home by the sheriffs after being found in one of our neighbors' house doing their dishes. She couldn't say her name. We quickly learned that also the reality of Alzheimer's is a heck of a lot more than just forgetting stuff. To those watching and those here tonight, it's critical that we share our stories with lawmakers. When you're sharing with lawmakers, you can give them facts and figures, but I've found our personal stories are most effective in letting them know the reality of this disease. And believe me, they're listening. Most of them have their own personal story with Alzheimer's. Odds are that they know someone, a brother, sister, mother, or another relative or friend suffering with this, for now, incurable disease. Susie died 4 years later at age 57. Our 6 children and I were left to pick up the pieces. In my second term, I met Matt Wilhite, who was just elected to the House of Representatives. We're of different political parties, and we both have had our families affected by this disease. Representative Wilhite and I have become friends, and we have worked as partners to pass legislation to help the families that are struggling with the disease over the last few years. We've often shared in committee and on the House floor that when red and blue, Republicans and Democrats, are joined together, it makes purple the color of Alzheimer's awareness. I'm now in my last term, and Representative Wilhite will also term out not too long afterwards. Along the way, so many others, such as Senator Gibson, Senator Stargell, all of our friends from the Alzheimer's Association, and many, many others have helped to pave the way forward. Governor DeSantis and Secretary Pruitt have thankfully made this a priority for their administration. Thankfully, as myself, Representative Wilhite, and others term out, there are new leaders in the legislature emerging to carry the legacy of advocating for these victims and families in the buildings behind me. Leaders like Representative Salzman, who was just elected and immediately filed House Bill 627. Representative Byrd, who recently filed House Bill 309, and Senator Broder, who is now carrying the torch in the Florida Senate. After I'm gone, I know that these leaders will continue to fight for you until one day we find a cure, and that day is coming. In 2019, in closing, this has a happy ending personally. I was blessed to marry Rachel, whose family has also been affected by this disease. She has stood by me in helping to honor the legacy of my late wife, Susie, by changing Florida for the better through her advocacy and partnering with me in my advocacy as the years go by. It takes a strong woman to do that, I'll tell you, and she is. Thank you, Rachel, and I love you, and thank you for being my partner in this cause. Michelle, the Alzheimer's Association, it's been an honor to work with you since 2014. I know early after getting elected, I met our friends from the Alzheimer's Association. I look forward in continuing that for my time remaining in the legislature and in private life afterwards, of all working together. Again, thank you for allowing me to speak tonight, and God bless you.
And I'm squeezing back up here. Okay. Representative Plakin, thank you so much for being with us tonight. I really appreciate you being there, and those words meant so much to all of us. I can see when he was talking, all of you putting questions. So thank you for being here, and hopefully everybody will stick around for some questions. So if you know Evan Holler, he's in my ear right now because he's going to be feeding me the questions to you. So let's hope we can get this right, because this is the technology that far supersedes my capability at this point. But I am here to give it a college try and do the best we can here. So thanks for being with us. We're going to open it up to Q&A, and Evan is going to tell me the question. I'm going to repeat it, and then hopefully we can provide you with a great answer. If you don't get your question answered tonight, please don't hesitate to reach out to one of your advocacy managers. But most importantly, thank you for being here, not only tonight, but talking with your legislators. You heard about some of these new great champions in the legislature. And I want to let you know that they're listening to you. They really are. We sent you those paddles that say My Voice Matters, and we're hashtagging My Voice Matters. Your voice really does matter. And obviously they listen and they have their own personal connections to the disease, as you heard from Representative Plakin tonight. All of these legislators are here to prioritize Alzheimer's disease and are listening to you in all of the meetings that we do all week long. So thank you so much. And with that, I'm going to turn it to Evan right here, who's going to give me my first question. Evan? That is a great question. So what Evan asked me was, how is the Brain Bus adopted to the COVID pandemic? So we know it's a big mobile outreach initiative. We know it's mobile. We have the big Brain Bus, and then we have the smaller Brain Van that canvass the state. So how did it really adapt to not being on the road? And we hit the virtual space really hard, really early in the pandemic. And our programs team, led by Julie Schatzer, has become masters of this space. So now we provide all of the services that the Brain Bus offers, and we do that virtually. We also reach out into the community, into trusted spaces like churches and chambers of commerce, to make sure that they know we're here, and they know that there's opportunities and resources and offers to be there anytime they need the Brain Bus and the services that we provide. So the Brain Bus is still canvassing the state and has been throughout the pandemic. It's just doing it virtually. So like I told you earlier on in the program, the Brain Bus will continue to offer virtual services because it's doing such a great job in this space. And for the places it can't get physically, it can get there virtually. So even if you can't get to the Brain Bus can get to you. So that's how we've adapted. Thanks for the question, Evan. So Evan asked me how the awareness campaign that Representative Salzman and Senator Broder are carrying, how is that going to affect our families? So the great news is this campaign is going to target healthcare providers or primary care providers that I told you we go to first when we're anxious and nervous about our own health or the health of our loved ones. So now when the Department of Health updates all of its collateral and the things that it prints out, and mostly it could be about numbers, it could be about blood pressure numbers or cholesterol numbers, they're now going to include information about brain health, early detection, early diagnosis. It will also look at helping healthcare providers see the coverage provided by the CPT code I mentioned, which is 99483. This will help primary care providers know that their care consultations and their referrals and talking to their patients about Alzheimer's disease and related dementias will be covered, and that's great too. Also, a baseline of cognitive assessment added to the wellness visit, I think, will be yet another key important thing for us to look at when we're measuring our wellness. So each year during our annual wellness visits, we'll also be looking about whether or not we've stayed the same cognitively, done better cognitively, or declined cognitively. And I think those things will be key pieces for our healthcare providers to know how to detect and diagnose Alzheimer's disease and related dementias better. So thanks so much for the question. We're saying goodbye to Representative Plakin. So bye-bye, guys. Take care. Have a great evening. So saying goodbye to some great friends there, and thank you so much for being with us. So the question is, will the passage of the awareness legislation that I just spoke about, will that increase usage of the CPT code, which is the 99483? I think so. I think the better that healthcare providers and primary care providers and everybody in that spectrum, nurses alike as well, the more they know about brain health, early detection, and early diagnosis, the more opportunities they have to offer services and referral, care consultations, diagnostic testing, screening, and all the things that they need to do. So I do think there'll be more use of that CPT code in the passage of this legislation. So I'm anxious to see that, because that's something we did through Hope for Alzheimer's and then through Improving Hope for Alzheimer's on the federal level. So I think this will be key for us moving forward. Thanks, Evan. So this is one last question. I did hear you, Evan. Thanks for the question. So the question is, and then I was going to let Secretary Prudhomme just talk a little bit about, he's walking away fast, folks. So the question was about, did COVID increase deaths for Alzheimer's disease? So that's something that we're continuing to monitor and look at. So you can tell that it's over 16% more deaths than we've seen in previous years. So there could be a lot of different factors for that. And part of that is because people in the early days of the pandemic weren't seeking health care and weren't going to their doctors. They were worried about leaving their homes. So that's one piece of it. Another could be COVID. Another could be that we're just having more deaths related to Alzheimer's, because each year we trend upwards with that, as we know. So the projections are grim unless we intercede and do the things that we need to do, like we are doing in Florida. So hard to tell in these early days, but something that the Alzheimer's Association is continuing to monitor. I really appreciate the question, Evan, and I was going to bring the Secretary back on for just a moment to talk about Florida and vaccines. Is that good? Can you hear me now? Thank you. Okay, I'm going
to... Thank you, Michelle. Yeah, as you know, the governor has focused on his Senior First initiative, which is designed to get every elder adult over 65 a vaccine as soon as possible. If you want a vaccine, you get one. And as you just heard as well, he's changed that now to 60 and over as well. And that's me. I'll be there on Monday, first in line to get my vaccine, because I'm almost 61. So pretty pleased about that. But what we do recognize as well is that people living with dementia and encouraging those individuals to receive a vaccine is unique. And in concert with the Alzheimer's Association, we are putting together a flyer that talks about how to talk to individuals living with dementia and encouraging them to receive a vaccination, which can only sort of help them live better with this disease during this difficult time. But, you know, we're so grateful to the governor, because that Seniors First, we have over 4.5 million people over 65, and the vast majority of those who want a vaccine have been getting a vaccine. and we are sort of making sure that we reach them anywhere we can to ask them, do you want to receive a vaccine? Do you want to receive it in your home, because we'll come to your home? Do you want transportation to a site? And we're going to reach you. So if you have anyone, anyone that needs a vaccine, wants a vaccine, let us know, and we'll come out and we'll reach you and ensure that you get that much needed vaccine that will help us, live life in a much more normal manner than we have for the last over 12 months. So thank you, Michelle.
Squeezing back up here. So I hope you guys had a great time with us this evening. Even though you weren't here, I feel really energized and rejuvenated and ready to tackle this legislative session. I really do. And we have so many great champions here to listen to you. So I wanted to wish you well on all your meetings as you're doing them. And I wanted to, again, just thank you. Thank you for doing them. I hope you got the packages that we put together and you have your sashes and you have your great backgrounds that Don Wade created for us and all the new swag that we have. So those sashes were lovingly made by your entire public policy team with the new buttons we have and the new paddles we have. So I hope you're enjoying them. And I feel you here tonight. Bye, Dr. Weiss. So thank you so much for being with us. So I just wanted to say in closing, thank you for being with us. We are here to end Alzheimer's together. Each year we join each other in this fight. Each year we tackle the legislative session. Each year our voices get stronger and stronger and stronger. And each year, more importantly, the legislators are listening purposefully, intentionally. They really are. In the years that I've been here, I used to have to explain what Alzheimer's disease was. And now I don't have to do that at all, because unfortunately those legislators and our leaders have their own personal stories too. So you're making great headway, folks. We're on the brink of some amazing things, and we continue to do great work. And I know Florida is setting the gold standard with you as advocates. So your voice matters. That's the hashtag, my voice matters. And end Alzheimer's disease. So end Alz, my voice matters. Contact your advocacy managers if you have any more questions or thoughts. Make sure you post those great pictures all week long for all of the meetings that you have, and tag your legislators in them. So live from this beautiful Capitol on this beautiful night in Tallahassee, as we're purple and I have all these bright letters behind me and purple flags on the lawn, I want to say thank you. I wish you well. Have a great evening and a great rest of your week. Signing up. Bye, folks.